ustawi, habari, matangazo, vipindi, nyimbo na burudani.
Welcome to a review on the retreat of the Regional Bahai Council that was held at the Matundasoi House of Worship, and it was attended by many members like Councillor Townshend Lihanda, the Secretary of the National Spiritual Assembly, Madam Lucy Imison, and the auxiliary board members, and the rest were members that were elected to the Regional Bahai Council. And during the meeting, there were many topics that emerged and were discussed, like the youth movement, women movement, social transformation, and spiritual growth and health. So, Mr. Dilvis, maybe you share the insights on the youth movement that were discussed on the meeting.
All right, so I'll give you a general overview of the meeting that was attended from 2nd December to 8th December, and among the topics that you've said, members were passionate about the status of the region, and we talked about topics on youth movement, which we shared as a group, and we looked at the challenges that are facing youth within the region and in the country. And some of the challenges that we shared was that youth are facing a tremendous challenge of drug and substance use, and they're also facing the menace of gambling, and also they are facing challenges to do with having a huge ceiling of financial expectations, but you don't have that money. So where do they get that money? So that is affecting their schooling. So that issue of youth movement was also touching on how they grow through the ranks of schooling and that progression, whereby some of them maybe in the aspect of transition, it affects how they transit from one level to another in school, and how the aspect of junior youth program within the Bahai community can help to complement and see how they can be helped. How they can be helped to transit. And another issue was on the drugs. How can we take health education out there and see how we can help our communities? And also that touched on how we can transit children from children classes to go to junior youth program and go through that and advance with their studies in tertiary school, the structures that we are having in the country. And also we touched on social transformation, looking into agriculture, looking into health, looking into media and arts, and also looking into environmental conservation. And here we looked on how the program, the Bahai program, can help complement the programs that are there in the communities through stakeholders like the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Health in terms of health, and try and see how the public health approach that we are having here, it can complement the structures that we are having in the communities, to see how CHPs can be helped to see their roles in the community, not as just jobs, but as a service to humanity. And also something that members passionately recommended was that in Givogi, for instance, there is a seed bank, and this seed bank is helping the members of that community to tackle the issue of food security. And also the Stawisha Kilimo here in Luanda. It is helping members of the community to have food and also to have an income. More so, for instance, when they have the high the DHE plots, which helps them to advance their agricultural output and put a food on the table. And also something to do with environment was the environmental activities that are being undertaken in the communities, and the use of pesticides and chemicals, and how the approach of the program on environment can complement that and help our communities to have a good environment that doesn't affect future generations, but to have an environment that is helping us as humans now and in the future. And also something else that was touched was the women movement. And women movement, the members talked about the challenges that women are facing in the community. Say it from the gender-based violence, say it the economic burden they're having, and also the issue of teenage pregnancy, especially young mothers. And the recommendations was, if this movement can grow into our communities and see how we can incorporate the existing structures in the communities and see how they can be complemented by the program that is within, and see how these challenges can be addressed. And also another thing was the spiritual health, especially in the region. The most important thing that I want to note is that, being new to this, I learned lots of stuff, and this was, for instance, the burial law. I also learned about the 19-day feast being a law whereby you come together as a community and you share a meal and you share about the challenges that you're going through and you pray together. That was so important. Also, I realized that in Bahai there is a marriage law whereby the marriage institution is respected and how the marriage can work. So that's a law on its own within the Bahai community. And I think these laws, if they are incorporated into the laws that we are having in the communities, and try to share notes, I think it will be a good thing to try and see how we can help these communities and try to see the challenges that, for instance, people in marriage are facing, how to raise a family, how to work together as a husband and a wife, and see how you can raise a good and sound community that not only fears God, but also a community that grows knowing the importance of God in their life. And also another thing that was shared was the importance of having devotional gatherings in the villages. This helps to bring people close to God, and also help to have a community that can put heads together and pray together and see how they can address the challenges that they are facing in a holistic way.
And I think those discussions had more impacts. The above topics have been mentioned, like the youth movements, and I think that will be able to help the youths be busy. Many activities are addictive to the youth, and considering the discussion and how they are going to be tackled, I think the youth are now going to be at least busy and engaging activities that maybe have some positive impact in their lives.
And I think maybe something to add is that the media has a huge role to play. For instance, on the issue of prejudice and misinformation, you see, the information that is being shared in the community, it depends on how the media shapes that. And the important aspect here is to bring youth on board. You see, if you bring them on board and they share the challenges that they are facing, it's easier for them to find solution to those challenges. You involve them, you let them participate in the conversation and see how you can help them. So we can use platforms, for instance, the social media platforms, and see how we can bring youth together and help them in this. And I think it will be important, for instance, if we can share maybe something like a devotional meetings schedule, whereby not only it applies to the Bahai community, but also it applies to youth in different communities and villages within the region, and this will help them to try and find solution to the challenges that they are facing, not only in education, not only in the issue of drugs, but also this huge issue that we are having now, the issue of gambling, and it will help us to sort many issues that the youth are facing.
I think the topics are going to be more, they're going to have more they're going to be more proactive, and I think, as discussed, everyone is going to be in a good move, and everyone needs, or everyone's activities will be considered. I've been your host, Muyere Sarah Bugutsa.
And the co-host, Delvis Otiala Kilibwa.
Our viewers, catch up with us next time for more.
Radio Star. Habari, matangazo, vipindi, nyimbo na burudani.
Taarifa, vipindi, nyimbo, burudani, kemkem. Kwa habari, matukio, matangazo kutoka kila vijiji, eneo.